Hey, fancy meeting you here. You came back for another Love and Marriage Huntsville review, didn't you? I knew you'd be back. I knew you'd be back, and that's why I got exactly what you need. Okay, so we gonna get into this review, but first, don't forget to like this video, thumbs it up, smash that like button, jump that hole, get on that like button, get in those comments, and subscribe to my channel. It's Ollie J, you know who it is, baby. So let's get into this review, because I know y'all can't wait to start talking about the drama. Okay, so the show opens up with Kimmy and Maurice talking and discussing the conversation that Kimmy and Tisha had in the previous episode. You remember the conversation where Tisha was saying that Kimmy doesn't have her bag and crying like she always is. But Kimmy tells Maurice that Tisha felt like, she wasn't being a good friend to her because she doesn't call her, she doesn't check up on her, see how she's doing, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you ask me, that's some BS, because friendship goes both ways, and so does the phone line. So if Tisha felt that way and she want to talk to a friend, why she didn't call her? Because she has a problem with Kimmy. But I digress. So Kimmy says, well, that's true. I don't call as much, and I don't, because everywhere I'm going, everybody I talk to, I'm hearing that you're talking crap about me and saying that I'm a bad friend and I'm not being a good sister and all that. So of course I'm gonna be a little distant or whatever. And so Maurice asks Kimmy, like, well, does she want you to change who you are for her? And I mean, because if that's what she's wanting, then she might as well keep on wishing, because that's not Kimmy. And I think we all know that's not Kimmy. Kimmy not gonna do that. Kimmy is 100% real all the time. I haven't seen her show any ounce of being fake or phony. So she says, you know what? That's funny that you asked. Because in fact, she does expect that. She said those words out of her mouth, that she wants me to change for her. When I guess in situations with her, she wants me to change how I would normally be to accommodate her as a friend. Now, don't that sound like some foolishness if you ever heard it? Anyway, so at the same time they're talking, we see that Tisha and Marceau are also discussing the same thing about this conversation. And Tisha, she's sticking to her same thing about Kimmy not having her bag and, all that. And she's like, I told her what my expectations are, and hopefully she will abide by that. Abide? Okay, maybe I'm too hung up on the word abide, because I don't abide by any of my friends. I may do things for them, they may do things for me. But we don't owe each other anything. And I think that's what Tisha is missing, that Kimmy don't owe you nothing because she's your sister-in-law. I don't even know if they really were friends before Kimmy and Maurice got married or got together. I mean, so the fact is, Tisha wants too much from Kimmy, and what's gonna happen is she gonna end up pushing Kimmy too far, and she gonna find out that she got the wrong person. Also, in their conversation, Marceau mentions that even though Wanda wasn't there, and that was good because there wasn't any drama, and how Miss Wanda can be. But he said, well, I thought she would be the problem, but it seemed like the rest of your family really the ones that came there on a mission. And Tisha's like, what kind of mission? What do you mean? He said, it seemed like they came on a mission to check Marceau. And she's like, check them about what? What did they want to check you about? And so he said, well, your brother pulled me to the side, and he was concerned about hearing about this so-called side child that Marceau is supposed to have. And he's seen this on social media, and so he asked Marceau about it. And Tisha says, well, I don't even know why people listen to social media and feed into that and believe everything they hear, because if it really was an issue, it would have been an issue and everybody would have knew about it. And Marceau says, well, if you had a side child outside, baby, I'd forgive you. What man you know What man you know is gonna be like, oh, you had an outside child, that is some man. Okay, I'll raise it. I love you, baby. I'm done. I mean, you got a few out there that might do it. Marceau don't seem like the one, even though he is kind of nonchalant about everything. And I guess he probably doing his dirt. So if he found out Tisha was doing something, he'd be like, that's all right, babe. We all make mistakes, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if Marceau has a outside child, but Tisha said, if I found out that you did, if I found that out, I would take everything. I'd take all your money, everything you got, and I'd divorce your ass. So Marceau, you better walk that straight and narrow, buddy. I don't know. I think he do got a side child. What y'all thought about that? So in the next scene, we see Martell arriving at Mel's house to pick up the kids. And he's knocking. He's knocking. Mel taking her sweet, fabulous time coming down the stairs. Just coming damn near. So she took her time, got down the stairs, greet each other. Hey Martell, hey Melody, you know, how you doing? Small talk. The kids about ready? Yeah, they're pretty much ready, but can I talk to you outside for a second? You know, I'm trying to get my country twang on. Y'all know I'm from Chicago. We got a little country twang, but it ain't like that. It ain't like this Huntsville twang. But they go out on the porch, and they sit down, and Melanie says, well, you know, I just wanted to discuss some boundaries when it comes to the schedule with you getting the kids. You know, I'll have them for weeks, and when it's your time to get them, you call me at the last minute like, nah, y'all just do what y'all want to do. You know, y'all keep on doing what y'all doing. I'm not going to come. And she's like, you know, we got to have more of a communication between us about that. And as Martell always does, he doesn't say, well, you know what, I'll communicate a little better, you know, but I'm going through some stuff. That's simple to say, if that's the truth. But she's like, but I see after you cancel, I see you out at events and all that. And he's like, well, how do you even know what's on my social media? I don't look at your social media, which, come on, we know that's a lie. But he's like, how do you even know, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so he says, well, speaking of social media, you know, I feel like what I posted about, you know, the fifth child or whatever, I felt like at the time I was not trying to be malicious. I did not post that to hurt anybody or hurt you or be disrespectful. I just, you know, but maybe that wasn't the time. Maybe it was a little soon. And I agree. I think that, you know, I don't think he did anything wrong per se, you know, mentioning all his children, illegitimate or otherwise, you know. But I do think that it was a little fresh. It's so soon to be mentioning your outside child, especially in a post with your child, with your ex-wife, you know. So he doesn't apologize, but he says like, you know, maybe I could have not done that, you know. So you know how we got to take what we can get with Martell's. That's what else they talk about. Let's see. Okay, so he Mel tells Martell that, you know, he shouldn't have a problem with the social media stuff because he's been disrespectful to her for a very long time now. You know, so now that she says something every now and then, which Mel doesn't really say much about Martell. I haven't seen it, but, you know, she's like, you've been disrespectful for a very long time. And then they show a clip of him doing an interview with Dr. Heavenly from Married to Medicine. And then also they show a clip of Funky Dineva. I guess he was doing an interview with Mel over Skype or Zoom or whatever. And he gets a call on his phone and he says, oh, this is a Huntsville number. This is somebody from Huntsville calling me. And then Mel says, oh, that's Martell. That's Martell. And so basically it's like, you know, you talking about me posting whatever I guess she posted or paying attention to his social media, but you're the one out here talking about Mel. You know, you're the one who cheated and wrecked this family, but you're out here bad talking Mel. Doesn't make sense. Can't make it make sense. But, you know, Mel brings that up. And so she suggests that maybe since they're having such a hard time communicating and getting on the same page, and then just because this is different. I mean, you're going through a divorce. They've been married for 12 years. They got these kids. Maybe we need a mediator. So she suggests they go to a counselor, someone who specializes in co-parenting situations and divorce, that can help them a little better. And Martell is for it, you know. So I guess they go into therapy. And so now they done talking about all that. They done got that out the way. They gonna go to the counselor. So they go back in the house. Martell goes in. Now, I don't know if I missed something, but he knocked to go in. And I'm like, wasn't he just out there with Mel? Why he didn't just walk in with her? But I think I might have missed something. So he comes in. Mel's mom lets him in. And so she's standing there, and, you know, it's small talk. Hey, how you doing? Da, 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 da. And so it didn't get too far before mama had to let him know that she got a problem with him that they gonna have to address. Now, she doesn't try to address it right there. She's like, you know, you've been talking real crazy on social media, you know, and we're gonna have to talk about this. You know, you've been doing stuff. We're gonna have to talk about it. And Martell's like, we really don't have to talk about a thing. There's nothing we need to discuss. Whatever's being done is between him and Mel, and I don't disagree with him. Now, I understand that when you have a marriage, a family, and, you know, you go through this type of thing, everybody's affected. Parents, you know, extended family, you know, a lot changes. However, it's enough strife in their relationship already. They don't need no more. So, mama, maybe you need to, I mean, she wasn't trying to talk right then, but maybe you don't even need to talk to Martell, because he don't got no sense no way. So she's like, you know, whatever, Martell. She kind of does her hand like this, like she don't want to hear nothing else from him. And he yells for the kids, come on, kids, let's go, because grandma just put her hand in my face. And she's like, now, why did you have to say that? Well, and that's what I don't like about Martell. He talks about the kids being affected by social media and all this and that. But you do these petty things in front of them as if they're dumb, and they can't see tension in the air that's thick as fuck. Like, you act like these kids don't know what's going on. They've seen it. You're on television. So he hit the kids, and he go, and good for him, get up out of there before it gets any messier with the mama. All right, now we get Monster and Maurice. They're walking into the house talking about, you know, where Monster wants to go to high school, and if he's decided. He says he has. And, you know, Monsters get tall, you know, he getting big. But, yeah, so they go in and they sit down with Kimmy, and they're talking about the fact that Monster has decided what high school he wants to go to. And they're just talking about how Monster don't be cleaning up, you know, typical teenage things. So Monster don't be doing it, and, you know, but he want money, but he doesn't want to work for it. He basically just wants somebody to give him some money. So that's typical, and that's whatever. So Kaiwa calls, that's Maurice's ex-wife, Monster's mom. She calls, and she's talking to Maurice and Monster. And he's telling his mom, I picked a high school. And she asks, well, what made you pick that? He lets her know why. His friends are going there, and that's why. And that's good enough reason. That's all it takes for a teenager. Oh, my friend going there. I'm going too. Duh. So they're just discussing that. And the whole time, Kimmy is sitting there, but she's not on camera on the FaceTime call, and she's not talking. And Maurice doesn't mention that Kimmy is sitting right there. But, you know, Kimmy, she ain't got no problem letting you know. So she turns the phone and she said, hey, I just want to let you know that we all sitting here. You know, hey, nobody just want, when you create that division or you keep that going, it's hard to communicate with her when she would need to. So, you know, Maurice needs to start including Kimmy more. I know it didn't go well before, but he needs to start including her more in talks with Kaiwa. And so they can try to fix some of this. And that's basically what Kaiwa was saying on the phone. She suggested that maybe they could meet up sometime soon and just clear the air, because things weren't so great the last time that they had a discussion. And, you know, she was basically saying that Kimmy was dating Maurice while they were still married. And, you know, so she's like, you know, some things were said. We need to clear some stuff up. So maybe we can meet up. And Kimmy likes that idea. Maurice is down. So they're going to have a meeting in the near future. So everything goes well with that situation. And that's all with Maurice and Kimmy. We're at Mel's office, and we see her friend. Well, I want to say new friend. She's new to the show, but apparently her and Mel have known each other for a while because they're both into, you know, in the business scene. Tiffany is into HR and, you know, branding. And she does it all, you know. So she comes to visit Mel at the office, and it's all, hey girls, and how you been, and catching up. She says, you know, how has your mental been? Tiffany asks Mel, you know, how have you been? And so Mel says, you know, I've really just been enjoying falling in love with myself again. You know, outside of being married, just finding who I am again, you know. And she's like, you know, it was hard, but it's now everything is flourishing, her businesses, her brand. And, you know, Tiffany says, you know, I absolutely understand, because Tiffany has been divorced as well, and she's recently remarried now, but she has gone through it. So she's like, you know, it was hard. It was really hard. And, you know, it was a lot of times that I just, you know, I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but I ended up winning. So I guess that was the point of it all, is that she ended up winning in the divorce. And she was like, if I can do it, you can do it too. And I just love seeing this scene. We got two business women, two, you know, wives, and just two women, Black women, that can share in a struggle, but also a triumph. So I thought that was really cool to see. And so after that, Mel's like, you know, it just helped to know that someone else understands, because sometimes when you're going through things, you think it's just you. You don't want to seem weak and needy, and you like, but has anybody else gone through this? Like, how did y'all handle it? So just hearing that from her friend was really helpful. And then while she was there, Tiffany could help with some of the business. So Mel says, well, now that everything's going really great with my Melanie Holt brand, I'm sorry, I keep calling this girl Melody Holt's brand. She's like, I got a lot of irons in the fire, and I think it's time to get some help. So she said, I would like to bring on some interns, preferably from HBCUs, some from my alma mater, and we can put them to work. They can get some experience, some exposure, and I can get some help. Kill two birds with one stone, just like we did with this conversation. Feelings and business, got it done.
I love it when a plan comes together.
So then Mel says, you know what, girl? We haven't hung out in a long time. You know, we need to just hang out. Do you know my friend Destiny? And Tiffany's like, mm-mm. Now I was like, mm-mm. Now we done seen the clips with her kind of getting into it or starting some stuff. I'm like, if you don't know her, how is that gonna happen? But you know, stranger things have happened on these shows, so we gonna see what that's about. But she says she don't know her. So Mel says, you know what, I think you would really like her. You know, you guys would really get along. You know, she's having a little birthday dinner that she's having some girls, you know, just the girls coming around, you know. I think you should come with me, girl. It'll be fun. So she says, absolutely, I would love to come, you know. So I guess she coming to the birthday party. I thought that was weird that you invited her to somebody else's birthday party that she don't know. But that's how we do things on these shows. We got to connect the storylines. We got to connect them. But that's that on that. Let's move on. All right. So now we get the scene with Chris and Martell talking. And I was dreading this because I told y'all last week, we already know Martell is not going to be happy about this. So we see Martell arrive at Chris's house, and they, you know, hey, brother, blah, blah, blah. They go sit down. They get to chit-chatting it up. Martell notices that Chris has has a book, like a study book for his business license. He said, oh, what's going on there? He was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be taking the exam, so I'm studying or whatever. And Martell says, man, I need to be studying with you because, you know, I failed that test about 7 years ago. And I'm like, in 7 years, you ain't try again? Is it a time, like, restriction? Like, you can't keep on trying? Because 7 years, you could have took that test again and passed it, Martell. Now, we know you an asshole, but you don't seem to be stupid. Like, you could have took that test again. But he says, yeah, I need to do that, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. So Chris says, yeah, man, I'm trying to get this building license going. And he said, but I got some good news, though. We closed on the 47 acres. And I don't know about y'all, but I was just as relieved. I said, damn, I'm glad y'all done closed on that 47 acres. I mean, how long we going to talk about that? The comeback group has been dissolved, been done. So Yeah, good. They closed on the 47 acres. Martell is relieved and happy to hear about that. But now here's the difficult part of the conversation. So Chris, he's looking a little apprehensive. You could tell he don't want to say this, but he's like, you know what? Speaking of the 47 acres, the developers, they requested that I talk to Mel, reach out to her about possibly building on the 47 acres for them. And Mel told me, you know, that this was really your passion, your baby, you put this together, and that maybe I should ask you first, see how you felt about it. So, so now I'm talking to you. So Martell, he's seething. That man is pissed. And his whole thing was, you talk to Mel before you talk to me, and I'm your mans. Like, I'm your dude. You supposed to come to me, man. Like, bro code, and friendship and all that. And Chris is like, it's the bottom line. It's the money. It's business. It's not about friendship and relationships and all that. That developer, the client, asked for Mel. Now, what he don't want to tell Martell is the client don't want to work with you because you're messy. You're messy and you got all this drama on social media. You got outside kids. You getting a divorce and you broke. You ain't got no building license. He doesn't even have his builder's license. Like, what are you mad about? You can't do it. So Martell he ain't trying to hear all that. He just basically feels like for him, it would be friendship first. His loyalties to his friends will come first. However, his loyalty to his family and wife did not come first. So I have a hard time believing that his loyalty to his friends will, especially with the friendships he's had. We saw him out Marceau, talking about you got 20 extra women on the side. And I mean, so really now you so heavy on friendship. Whatever, man. You don't have to get over that because it's business over here. So Martell is like, well, I'm glad Mel had my back. Somebody had my back. Somebody had sense enough to know. And I mean, what you want Chris to do? You want him to pass up on some money? And then you can't even do it either? That don't make sense, Martell. You got to make it make sense. So they wrap up that conversation and it didn't end well with them, but hopefully this isn't a big thing for their friendship. I mean, we know how Martell can be. He can be pretty petty, but hopefully they can move forward from this. And Chris can get his paper with his fine ass. Okay, so we finally made it to the scene where Mel and Martell are going to meet with the counselor. So they arrive at the counselor and Mel got on her bright red fiery wig. She looked good. She always looks good. It's just the hair ain't never quite right. It's like that wig was cute and it would have probably been fire, but then something in her said, I need to turn this thing. Like maybe if the part was here, that'd been all right. But she's like, I need to turn it and I need to turn it all the way around. So the part is now here. So, I mean, do your thing, Mel. So Martell says, oh, I see you when you're red. And she said, well, yeah, because word on the curve is that Martell put me on to blonde hair. So, you know, I had to put on the red today. So, fine. They're always pretty friendly in the beginning anyway. So, they go into the counselor and Martell, he voices as they're walking. He's just kind of like, his thing is hoping that this person is not biased. Like the last counselor, he felt like the last counselor, the therapist, I forgot the man's name, you know, the older guy. He felt like he was not the right fit because he couldn't really empathize. He had never been in this situation where he had been unfaithful to his wife or they went through a divorce. He had been married for 40 years, happy, you know. So Martell, like, he don't know what it's like to be an ain't shit nigga. He can't even relate to me, you know. So hopefully this therapist is not biased and Martell won't feel that way. So we're going to see. Mel says she looked up the reviews. This one, you know, this therapist has been recommended highly. So let's see. So they go into the therapist and, you know, they don't waste any time. The therapist introduced herself, Dr. Price, or whatever her name is Price, Miss Price. So she says, you know, we're going to just hop right in there, you know. And let me look at my notes because I don't want to miss what she was saying to them. Oh, Dr. Francis was the older guy, that the other therapist that Martell and Melanie were seeing before. Melody were seeing before. So, the counselor asks, how is everything, and how are the kids handling this situation? And Martell, he jumps in. He says, "Oh, the kids are great. They're resilient. They're fine. They're not having any issues and struggles. We're good. We keep them out of it." Now, Martell, you couldn't believe that. Melanie says, "No, that's not true. Our kids are struggling. They are really struggling." And maybe Martell doesn't see that as much because Melanie's with them more. But she mentions how one of the younger girls is she's writing poetry about why'd you have to break my heart, and just things that a 5-year-old normally wouldn't be saying. So obviously it's something emotional, something going on with her. And then she also mentions how the son, their oldest, has resentment towards Martell because he knows that his father hurt his mom and cheated on her, and he knows this stuff. And so, he has some resentment towards Martell. And I guess this is news to him. So, he basically felt like, he didn't want to get the kids in therapy because he thought there wasn't a problem, and that he didn't want therapy to possibly create a problem, maybe give them a reason to be like, oh yeah, maybe I should be upset with my daddy or my mama. He didn't want to cause a problem. But now that he sees that there is a problem and that the kids do need a little more support in this, I think that it changed his view on it. I think he can see things a little differently. And then the counselor asks, well, we're not going to try to tackle everything right in one session, but what is something easy? Let's pick a few easy things that we can kind of work on. What's something small that we can work on? Well, Mel says, well, the schedule with the kids has been pretty inconsistent. Martell cancels. He doesn't come and get the kids like he's supposed to. And so if we could work something out on that would be great. So Martell says, and you know what, guys? I can't stand Martell for what he does and his arrogance and ignorance. But in this moment, I really did feel for him. So Martell says, when I do that, it's because really I just have a lot going on right now. And at first I'm like, so Mel got a lot going on too. But he says, I have a lot going on and I'm not doing as well financially. And we know that that's the biggest part of it. If Martell was doing well financially, he probably wouldn't even be this petty. He'd run off with his new baby mama and keep it moving. But, he says he doesn't have as much financially, and he's so used to doing so much with his kids and taking them places and being able to do things, and now not being able to do that it's really hard for him, and he gets choked up. And I really felt bad for him because even though, and he says, I made my bed and I'm lying in it, but at the same time, it's hard because I can't do what I would normally be doing with my children. So, I definitely understood that, because any parent knows that you really want to be able to give your kids everything, the things they want, things they need, you really want to be able to do things with them. And when you can't, that is a blow, especially if you had been able to previously and then now you can't. So I know that has to be a big blow for him as a man, as a father, and I felt for him. So he steps out, gets his stuff together. Mel, she's tearing up because she's like, you don't stay married to someone for that long and know someone that intimately and not care about their struggle. Even if I feel like I gotta let God be God, I gotta let him basically deal with his own situation that he created, I can still feel for him. And I love Melody for that, because she doesn't try to seem away like she don't care and this and that. It's like, yo, I love this man. I'd still be with him if he wasn't cheating, and I care about how he feels, but that's on God now. So I totally agree with Mel. Martell comes back and they're just continuing to talk, and he was just, still kind of getting choked up. And Mel, she reaches out to kind of comfort him or console him. and like rub his arm, and he just snatches away like, go on, Mel, like, why are you doing that? And so I thought that reaction was a little odd. Like, I could have saw if he was like, nah, don't do that, you know, nah. But the way he did it, it was like, well, why are you doing that? Like it was affecting him. Like, I don't want you to be sweet to me and nice because I know it's my fault that we're here. That's what I got from him. I know I'm the reason that all of this has happened, and I don't want you to console me because really I don't deserve to be consoled. And I feel for him, but he don't deserve it. But Mel cares. So the counselor asked him, like, is that hard for you when she tries to comfort you? Like, is that difficult for you to receive? And he says, yeah, of course it is. It's very hard to receive because things are the way they are. And he brings up the whole social media thing and Mel talking about things. And he felt like the kids know because Mel told him that Martell cheated. And Mel's like, no, they know because they live in the house and they heard the arguments. And so Martell's like, well, that's why I will be like, quiet down, like, be quiet. Don't be yelling because they gonna hear you. And she said, well, that's why I said, quit doing it. Quit doing it. Quit cheating. Her talking loud was the least of the problems. Stop cheating. And so he says, well, he felt like she should have kept the business in the house. And she feels like he should have kept his penis in the house. I agree with her. Martell, you ain't got no leg to stand on that one, baby. So they talk about that. And Mel says, you know, you talking about all this and that, but you are always asking me for us to get back together. Like, you ask me almost every other day, can we get back together? And Martell's like, you lying. Oh, you lying. You know, he can't admit that. But she's like, it's okay if you want your family back. You didn't plan on losing your family. You planned on cheating and not getting caught. So it's okay if you want your family or you wish you could have your family back. But Martell too proud to admit any of that. So whatever, Martell, we know you want Melody back and you would be in heaven if she would take you. But according to him, that's the furthest thing from his mind. If they didn't have kids, he would never consider being with her like she did something to him. So whatever. The counselor kind of sees how this whole thing is going and she says, okay, well, what's another thing that we could deal with? And Mel says, well, he still hasn't told the kids about the new baby. They haven't met the baby. And I kind of just wanted to see where he stands with that, like when he would be comfortable with them meeting, you know, and what's his plan? How does he see that going? So Martell says, like, he don't want to talk about that. Now, you don't mind putting it on social media about your outside child, but you don't want to talk while in the counseling session with your ex-wife about this. But fine, in his own time, it must be a difficult situation. I can't imagine. So fine, he don't want to talk about it right now. So that's it's nay on the illegitimate baby A. That ain't even how you say it, is it? But anyway, the counselor, she kind of tries to bring it in, and she says, well, you know what? We'll get away from that. When he's ready, we'll figure that out. But let me share something with y'all. And so she shares that she went through a divorce, and shortly after her divorce, her ex-husband had found out that he had a child that was outside of the marriage, that was a little older. So he must have had the child while they were married. And when it was time for her son, to meet the new kid, she was there. She said she went, but she didn't say anything. She chose not to speak. She just wanted to be present to let her son know that our family dynamic is changing. A lot of things are changing, but I am in support of the way things are changing. I'm in support of you, and I'm here. And she said that sometimes that might be the route that you might want to take when you're comfortable, like just being there and showing support. And they both agree. Mel and Martell think that that's a good idea, a really good idea, actually, and they're going to think about it. So the counseling session went really good, in my opinion. I think this was the perfect counselor for them. Kudos to Mel for finding her, because she did good. So they leave. And they're walking out to the cars and they're saying like, that went good. You know, they happy. And then Martell says, oh yeah, I meant to tell you, I talked to Chris and, you know, about the 47 acres. And he told me that he spoke to you. And I just wanted to thank you for having my back kind of, you know, and letting him know that he needed to run it by me before, you know, anything, and that wasn't right, and then blah, blah. He's trying to get into it. And then Mel is kind of like, oh yeah, no, I did tell him that, but I am still considering it. Like, I'm still considering building on the 47 acres. And Martell's like, come on now, you ain't never built a house a day in your life. Bang. And he's trying to walk off like he just, like, that's the end of the conversation. No, that ain't how it go with y'all. So Melody, she says, wait a minute, let's be very clear, because she got a brand, first of all, and you on TV trying to make it seem like she don't know what she's doing when everybody knows Mel's the one with the building license. She has it and you don't. So she's like, if that's the case, I could say that you ain't never built no houses either, because I ain't never seen you lay one brick and one foundation. You ain't painted no walls. So, and he's like, you ain't done it either. So they just yelling back and forth. You know how they do. And they do it with a smile so they can both seem unbothered. But at the end of the day, Melody, she has every right to go forward with it. If she wants to build on the 47 acres, get your money, boo-boo. Don't let Martell stop you, and I know she won't. Martell, I'm sorry for you, brother. I'm sorry for you. Do better next time. Okay, so that's the review, y'all. Did you like it? This episode was really good. It wasn't nothing crazy, but I really loved it. I love seeing how Martell and Melody are handling this situation now going forward. But that's the review. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like this video. Like this video, smash that like button, hit it, jump that hoe. Just get on that like button. Subscribe, and let's talk about this in the comments. It's your girl, Ollie J, and I'll see you next week. Peace.